So we know the Miami Dolphins have cleared a lot of cap space, and they've gotten rid of a lot of players that maybe they didn't want on this roster. Oh, here's where we're going to differ greatly. Is this going to be a better team? We've talked about that. How do they fill these holes? If this is going to be a better team, how do they fill these holes? Who's up and coming? Has this team developed anybody that makes you think they're going to be better than the 8-8 team they were last year?
There are a lot of negative things that I could say about Joe Philbin. But one of the positive things is the fact that players have developed consistently under Joe Philbin. Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Miller, Olivier Vernon, Derek Shelby. Come on now.
Okay, but
Come on now.
Oh, they've developed into an 8-8 team.
Brian Hartline's a 1,000-yard receiver.
He's developed them into an 8-8 team.
Listen, players do develop. Koamisi's emerged under Joe
Okay,
Philbin.
how many of
Rashad
these-
Jones had a dynamic season.
How many of these guys have gone to the Pro Bowl?
Mike Pouncey. But listen,
Okay.
Mike Pouncey. However, I will say this. At some point, good organizations develop and invest in their own youngsters.
Right.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a better team, but you have to begin to invest in some of your younger, cheaper
Yes,
and cheaper
exactly.
players
That's the whole thing.
to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. And right now, this season looks like it's going to be a season where we learn about Jamar Taylor, we learn about Michael Thomas, we learn about A.J. Francis, Chris McCain, Deion Jordan, Anthony
Learn
Johnson,
what?
Billy Turner, Dallas Thomas, Rashard Matthews, Walt Aikens, Will Davis, Deion Sims, Damian Williams. These are all young players on the roster that are going to get a chance to emerge.
Do you think they're going to do better than like those middle-class veterans that you had last
Progress
year
stoppers?
and in years past?
Progress stoppers?
In years past. I mean, Vontae Davis, Sean Smith.
Oh, you're going to throw Vontae in this.
Mike Wallace, Carlos
Oh,
Dansby, Kevin Burnett,
those-
Daniel Ellerby, Philip Wheeler.
Most of those are Joe Philbin
Cortland
roster
Finnegan.
purges.
Okay, but
Different area.
Okay, but what I'm saying is these young guys, they aren't even of the level of those veterans who I just named.
Okay.
And all those veterans did was help you finish 500. That's why they're not here anymore. They
But
weren't
do
worth
you
that
know
price.
if they can be better
These
with
guys?
a 2-year investment?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Oh,
Listen,
what makes you
from a
think-
metric standpoint, if we're just looking at everybody's all excited about these draft prospects.
Right.
Jamar Taylor ran a 4.37.
Right.
He was one of the strongest players in his combine,
Yep.
the strongest cornerback.
Outstanding
metrics.
Yes.
Couldn't stay healthy.
Right.
But he has the numbers. And you saw in 2 games, you saw
Wait a
a
minute.
significant amount of production in the game against Buffalo and in the game against Denver till he got hurt.
But yes, but what is his rank?
Michael
What is-
Thomas,
what is-
2 starts already.
Okay, you're talking about guys with 2 starts. Now, come on! Oh, you're trying to replace Louis Delmas. Okay, a guy who has started probably 40 or 50 NFL games. Cortland Finnegan, Philip Wheeler, Danielle Eller, like these are guys with Darren College. Like, I mean, come on, you're trying to replace grown men. Oh,
So you just want to spend more free agent money. You just
No,
want to
no,
continue to make
no.
it rain with Steve Ross's money.
no. I'm pointing out, like you said, that one thing that Joe Philbin does is develop players.
He does.
Develop them into what? I mean, what are these? What
Solid
are these guys?
NFL veterans.
Dude, we're trying to get to the playoffs here, man. I mean,
Are
what
we
do you-
really? Are we really under Mike Tannenbaum? I'm not sure.
Look, I mean, you cut a lot of money.
Mike Tannenbaum might be sandbagging Joe Philbin.
Man, come on. I mean, look. Okay, but you cut a lot of money out of the payroll.
Absolutely.
But again, the guts of the team, you're relying on a bunch of young guys who all have question marks behind their name. They're
Absolutely. No
inexperienced.
question. No doubt.
Okay, so
But do you like them? Do you like Michael Thomas?
I like him, but he's limited.
Do you like A.J. Francis?
I like him, but he's limited.
Do you like Chris McCain?
I like him, but he's limited.
Do you like Anthony Johnson?
Do I have to keep repeating this? I mean, are we gonna go down this whole list?
If you didn't like him, then I can understand why you go out and you spend free agency money. You address it with stopgap players. But if you do like him, if you do like Damian Williams, if you do like Deion Sims,
Why do you like these guys? Like, what have they showed you consistently? Like, everybody in the NFL flashes for 3, 4, 8 games. Everybody. That's why you're in the league. I'm talking about two solid seasons.
They're
Don't
young.
even have to be consecutive.
They're young, they're trending up, and they're cheap.
I think that last part might be the thing that the Dolphins really like.
Yeah.
Because, look, and nothing against these guys personally, but again, I mean, how many years when you've had better players than this have you finished 7-9 or 8-8?
Maybe it's the players that are gone that were the problem. I don't know. That might be what Joe Philbin's telling people.
Well, that's what we're looking at, right? Well,
you have a young, hungry team right now. You have a young, hungry team, and you're going to be adding, let's say, 6 to 7 draft picks.
Are they talented? Oh, are they talented
I think
enough
these
to
players
finish?
are talented.
I mean,
Chris McCain. You going to tell me Chris McCain isn't talented? You gonna tell me AJ Francis isn't
okay,
talented?
are they 9 and 7
You
talented?
love Damian Williams.
That's
your guy. Hey, your guy.
He was running hard in preseason. I still believe in Damian.
3.4 yards per carry average. That's your man. And you not gonna believe in him?
I still believe in him, but not to be the 1-2 punch with Lamar Miller. And that's the thing. You have a lot of incomplete guys. Like I believe in Jamar Taylor, but not as a 16-game starter.
Okay.
I mean, I believe in him as a, you can play some nickel, or even though he rarely, I think that when he did that late in the season, that was his debut. Yeah, that was his debut.
Billy Turner. Dallas, I'm not going to include that. Billy Turner. You have to give these guys an opportunity to put them out there, see what they can do, and they could be trending upwards. Walt Aikens, Rashard Matthews, Deion Sims. We saw what Deion did. Tremendous jump from year 1 to year 2. Jelani Jenkins, tremendous jump from year 1 to year 2. And that's my point. That's what I think is their vision, that they're going to see a significant jump from last year to this year if you give these young players 500 to 600 snaps of playing time.
Okay, if these guys make a tremendous jump, you're still only talking about they're going to become solid NFL players. I'm talking about your Pro Bowlers. Who are your leaders?
Was Cortland Finnegan a Pro Bowler?
No, and he helped you finish 8-8. You're trying to upgrade here. You're not trying to get back to an 8-8.
Are we sure they're trying to upgrade?
Are
we sure they're trying to upgrade? It looks to me like they're on a youth movement, and they're interested to see what they have in these youngsters before they continue to invest or restock.
Let me throw this at you. Even from the business standpoint, you're upgrading that stadium. You're trying to get a younger fan base, right? Your fan base is probably 40 and up. You're trying to get those 30-somethings. If you don't win, you've missed the playoffs 12 of the last 13 years. If you go through another year like that, you got to win now.
And I hear your point, and I'll counter you with a Steve Ross will just spend again next offseason.
Oh, man.
And it'll sell you that there's hope and there's a new beginning. You know what? In fairness to the Dolphins, we don't know what they're going to do in the draft. They can go out and they can sign an Eric Kendricks or a Devontae Parker, get them in the draft, or they can add a Todd Gurley as a running back, and that'll inject a ton of hope.
Parker, who knows?
That'll inject a ton of hope and ton of belief in terms of the young base of talent. But right now, reality is the Dolphins are on a youth movement, Perk. You got to get with it or get off the train.
I'm with it. I want to be on the playoff train. I mean, that youth train and the playoff train, there's a fork in the road. Fork in the road. So we'll see what happens. But I say that they are going to have to plug these gaps with a combination of free agency and the draft. One or the other obviously isn't going to do it. I just don't see the talent out there. We're in stage 1, right? The first stage of building a team is the front office with free agency and the draft. The second stage is training camp, and the coaches put in the game plan, put the players in best position to win. The third phase is execution on Sunday. That's up to the players.
That's the problem you always have.
That's a huge problem I have. So anyway, we're in stage 1. There's plenty of time left, but I'm not optimistic right now.
Right now, if you had to put a first-round pick on the table at 14, who are you going with?
Ooh.
Based on what they've done in free agency.
I mean, Devontae Parker, the wide receiver from Louisville, will probably be gone. Brandon Scherf, the guard from Iowa, that's too high for him. Malcolm Brown, the defensive tackle from Texas, you don't need him. You got Ndamukong Suh. I'll say Devontae Parker. I'll say that he'll be there, and that's who they'll take. And you're going to go with a rookie as your number 1 wide receiver, probably.
I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to go with Georgia running back Todd Gurley.
Wow.
I think he is that guy.
Wow.
I think if you wait on him, put him on the PUP, and wait on him for the second half of the season, you might get a real nice investment. You might get Adrian Peterson. You also might get Trent Richardson. So
that's right. So who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things progress for the Dolphins. But right now, Omar is a lot more positive than I am. He likes.
I didn't say they'd be in the playoffs.
Okay,
now.
But you like the way Joe Philbin. You like the way your boy Joe Philbin develops players.
JoJo develops players. That's one thing I will say about him.
Wow.
Players are developing. Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Miller, Olivia Vernon. into solid NFL players.
Okay. Well,
That's what you hope from this 15 batch of youngsters.
Yes.
We got to come up with a name for them, too.
the 8-8 crew. All right. That's it for now. We'll end it on that. For sunsentinel.com, Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins.